guy. She doesn't want a younger guy. She wants the older man who moves slow, leads quiet, and makes her body relax. Let's be real, folks. Most men hit midlife and start overcompensating, flashier moves, endless texting, then wonder why she feels nothing. You keep proving, explaining, chasing, and try-hard signals kill the thing she craves: calm, strength. Meanwhile, the man who says little decides clearly and keeps his world in order. He's the one she thinks about when she closes the door. I'm here to wake you up, not to comfort you. Women love older men for 7 reasons that have nothing to do with luck and everything to do with discipline, unshakable confidence, emotional maturity, financial and lifestyle, stability, silent leadership, boundaries she respects and desire. That doesn't beg. Master these and you stop selling yourself. You become the thing she chooses. Tonight I'll give you the blueprint: what to show, what to withhold, how to pace a conversation, how to use stillness instead of speeches, and how to turn moments: ordering dinner, handling delays, ending the night into proof of frame. No gimmicks, no corny lines. Just a mature, masculine operating system you can run immediately. If you felt overlooked or replaceable, stay with me. By the end, you'll know why older men win and how to make her feel safer and more excited with you than with anyone else. Let's get into it. Number 1. She craves the man who moves slow. Most men rush everything: the text, the touch, the talk. They think speed equals confidence, but to a woman, it signals anxiety. Attraction isn't born in motion, it's born in control. When you move slow, when your energy says, "I'm not in a hurry," she feels something deeper: curiosity, safety, desire. Picture this. Chris, 52, met Megan, 45, at a co-worker's retirement dinner in San Diego. He spoke less than other men, asked simple questions, and actually allowed silence. When she teased him, he smiled, held eye contact, and answered after a beat. No scramble to impress, no rapid-fire stories, just steady presence. By dessert, Megan was leaning in, matching his pace, and touching her necklace as she listened. He didn't chase her attention, his timing pulled it. Women read timing before words. Fast speech, instant replies, and fidgeting communicate a nervous system looking for approval. Slow breath, measured tone, and deliberate pauses communicate a man who approves of himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." Translate that here: manage your impulses, not her reactions. Your discipline creates her relaxation. Moving slow does not mean being passive. It means you lead the tempo. Walk a half step ahead without rushing. Hold the menu calmly and decide. Let her finish a story without jumping in to top it. When she tests, with a playful jab, smile and let the moment breathe. That beat between stimulus and response is where masculine authority lives. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." Your unhurried presence proves you're here now, and that makes her feel safe. Try this the next time you meet a woman. Lower your voice slightly. Shorten your sentences. Keep your shoulders relaxed and your phone away. When she asks a personal question, answer briefly, then redirect with curiosity. "What about you?" If she flirts, don't rush the escalation. Let the tension simmer. Desire is a slow-cooked meal, not a microwave snack. Another real scene. Robert, 55, a contractor from Tampa, met Elena, 43, after a community charity run. While others layered compliments, he noticed her breathing, matched it for a moment, and kept conversation unhurried. When she suggested grabbing coffee sometime, he nodded and said, "Wednesday works, late afternoon. I know a quiet spot." Decisive, unrushed, clear. She smiled because leadership delivered relief, not pressure. Psychologically, a slower pace widens her attention. Uncertainty paired with calm raises dopamine just enough to make her curious, while your steadiness regulates oxytocin and safety. That cocktail feels like attraction. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom from hurry is the most attractive signal an older man can send. Common mistakes to avoid: narrating your resume, over-explaining jokes, filling every silence, and texting back within seconds like you're on call. Replace those with thoughtful pauses, concise statements, confident decisions, and strategic space. You're not withholding, you're conducting. Practice drill on your next date. Breathe in 4 out 6 for 5 minutes before meeting. Walk at your natural pace, not hers. Wait 2 rings before answering calls. Leave a beat before smiling. Small disciplines stack into signal. A man unhurried by outcome, focused on presence. She won't name it, but her body will instantly. Drop it below. I move slowly. Stay tuned, because next we'll turn unhurried tempo into magnetic calm she feels before you even speak. Number 2. Calm confidence is her weakness. Here's the truth, my friend. Women don't fall for the loudest man in the room. They fall for the one who doesn't need the room at all. The man who moves with quiet certainty, who speaks when he chooses, and whose energy says, "I don't chase, I choose." That's calm confidence. It's not about ego or dominance. It's about peace that feels like power. Most men confuse confidence with noise. They talk too much, flex too hard, and push too fast. But what women actually respond to is the opposite: composure under pressure. When you stay relaxed, grounded, and unbothered, you show her something rare: control. And control, especially emotional control, is the purest form of strength. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the secret older men understand. You can't control her interest, her reactions, or her moods, but you can always control how you show up. And that calmness, that steady presence, creates the emotional safety that women crave more than words, gifts, or promises ever could. Think about the times you lost attraction with a woman. It wasn't because you weren't good-looking enough. It was when you started reacting, getting nervous, when she pulled back, talking faster to fill silence, or trying to win her over. Those little cracks in your calm told her everything she needed to know, that your center depends on her approval. But when you stop performing and simply are, everything changes. You're not chasing her validation, you're letting her feel yours. Calm confidence flips the polarity. Suddenly she's wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how she can earn your attention. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." A calm man is brave because he isn't enslaved by outcome. He can walk away, he can stay silent, he can wait. That's why women trust older men, not just for what they have, but for what they can handle. If she gets emotional, you stay grounded. If she tests your patience, you smile. If she withdraws, you don't panic, you stay composed. This steadiness tells her, "You've been here before." It says, "I don't need to control you to feel secure." That's when she begins to surrender, not out of weakness, but out of respect. Calm confidence also makes you unpredictable in the best way. She can't read you instantly, so her curiosity grows. You're not trying to entertain her, you're inviting her into your world where stillness has its own gravity. Here's what you need to practice when a woman speaks. Listen without rushing to respond. When silence shows up, let it breathe. When tension rises, hold your frame and relax your body. Calmness is contagious. She'll start to mirror your rhythm. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to be centered. A calm man doesn't fight to be seen. He becomes impossible to ignore. Now, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, are you the storm or the calm after it? Drop it in the comments. I choose calm. Stay with me, because next we'll uncover how emotional steadiness becomes raw attraction, the kind that makes her feel something she can't explain but never wants to lose. Number 3. Maturity turns chaos into desire. Let me tell you something, my friend. A woman doesn't fall for a man who has it all figured out. She falls for the one who stays composed when everything falls apart. Maturity is the quiet power that turns emotional chaos into connection. And when you bring that kind of grounded energy into a woman's life, it doesn't just calm her, it attracts her. Take this real example. Mark, 49, divorced, and raising 2 teens, met Olivia, 42, a marketing director who'd just come out of a messy breakup. She admitted early on that she didn't trust easily. One evening after a long day, she snapped at him over something small, running late to dinner. Instead of reacting, Mark looked at her, smiled gently and said, "It's okay. You've had a rough week. Let's just grab a drink and relax." He didn't lecture her, didn't withdraw, didn't make it about ego. He let the storm pass, and in that moment she saw something she hadn't seen in years, a man who could hold space instead of creating more chaos. That's the heart of maturity, being steady when emotions rise. You don't need to win every argument or correct every misunderstanding. You just need to show her that her storms don't shake your peace. That's what turns resistance into desire. You see, younger men often mistake conflict for rejection. They take a woman's emotion personally, as if her mood defines their worth. But a mature man understands emotion isn't a threat, it's a test. It's her way of asking, "Can I trust your strength when I lose mine?" When you stay calm and kind through her chaos, she starts to feel safe enough to let go, and that safety becomes the foundation of attraction. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In relationships, that means you don't mirror her chaos, you transform it. If she's loud, you stay calm. If she's anxious, you stay patient. If she's uncertain, you stay sure. That polarity, her storm meeting your stillness, creates the spark that makes her feel both grounded and excited. Here's what most men miss: maturity isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about managing it. You feel anger, frustration, even hurt, but you choose your response. You give yourself a moment to breathe, to think, to decide. That pause is where power lives. Olivia told Mark later that what made her fall wasn't his words, it was the silence between them, the way he didn't need to prove himself. Maturity also means knowing when to walk away. When an argument stops being productive, you don't chase closure, you choose peace. When a woman tests you, you don't panic, you let time do the talking. That's the energy of a man who values himself too much to fight small battles. Desire thrives in stability. A woman can't feel drawn to a man she has to manage. But when you become her calm in the storm, she naturally leans into you, not out of dependency but respect. So ask yourself, when conflict comes, do you react or respond? Do you fuel the fire or do you turn it into warmth? Drop it in the comments. I bring calm. Stick with me, because next we'll explore how real stability doesn't just make her trust you, it makes her want you in ways she can't explain. Number 4. Stability is the new sexy. Let's get something straight. Chaos might get attention, but stability keeps desire alive. In a world where everyone is chasing dopamine, scrolling for validation and jumping from one distraction to the next, a stable man feels like gravity. He's not the loudest, the richest, or the flashiest. He's the one whose life has rhythm, order, and direction. And that, my friend, is the kind of energy women crave more than abs or a fancy car. Stability doesn't mean boring. It means consistent, predictable in action, but never predictable in presence. When your emotions, routines, and boundaries are steady, a woman's nervous system relaxes around you. She can feel it, your peace becomes contagious. That's when attraction deepens from surface-level excitement into something primal trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful than your own soul." That's what real stability is, not a bank account, not a routine, but an inner foundation no storm can shake. When you live from that center, you stop chasing highs and start radiating calm authority. Women pick up on it instantly. They sense when a man's house is in order, not just his home, but his habits, his finances, his focus. And here's what's wild. Stability is incredibly erotic when it's masculine. It's not about controlling her, it's about controlling yourself. Your discipline, your direction, your sense of purpose, those are signals of emotional and sexual maturity. A stable man is exciting because he's rare. He's the calm eye in a world spinning out of control. Let's break it down. A man who's stable keeps promises, but not to please others because his word means something to him. He plans, but he can adapt. He doesn't disappear when things get hard. He doesn't need a woman to motivate him. He's already moving. That reliability builds anticipation. When she knows your presence is solid, her feminine energy can relax, and that's when her attraction deepens. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." A stable man doesn't hope for good outcomes. He creates them. He's consistent with his health, money, and emotions. He doesn't explode when something goes wrong. He adjusts. That predictability isn't dull, it's magnetic. Because in a world where everyone's overstimulated, stability feels like safety, and safety is the foundation of desire. So how do you embody it? First, build routines that serve you, not ones that trap you. Morning exercise, quiet time, and purposeful work aren't chores. They're proof of mastery. Second, stop chasing emotional drama. If someone wants chaos, let them have it somewhere else. Third, keep your circle tight and your word tighter. Stability grows when you stop overpromising and start following through. When you live like this, women feel something they can't name. They trust your silence, they believe your touch, and they start to imagine a life that revolves around your rhythm. Now, if you want to take this mindset to another level, join the membership. Inside, I'll show you how to build unshakable masculine structure routines, emotional control, and real-world exercises that make stability your natural state. Because when your inner world is calm, your outer world follows. And remember, being stable doesn't make you less exciting. It makes you unforgettable. Stay tuned, because next we'll uncover how not chasing and not giving too much actually makes her chase you harder than ever. Number 5. She feels it when you don't chase. Let's talk about something most men never learn. Chasing kills attraction. The harder you push, the faster she pulls away. And yet when you stop chasing, something strange happens. She leans in. She starts to notice you more. Text you first. Mirror your energy. Why? Because women don't fall for pursuit. They fall for presence. Here's a real story. Daniel, 51, divorced for 3 years, met Rachel, 46, at a friend's wine tasting in Chicago. They clicked instantly, easy laughs, subtle flirting. After their first date, she went quiet. Most men would have panicked texting, asking what's wrong, trying to fix it. But Daniel didn't chase. He kept living his life, focusing on his business and gym routine. 10 days later, Rachel messaged him, "Hey, been thinking about you." That's not coincidence. That's biology. She felt his absence, not his anxiety. You see, chasing tells her, "You're uncertain." It says, "I need you to validate me." But withholding the chase, not out of strategy but out of self-respect, flips the dynamic. It shows her you're full even without her. That's when curiosity turns into attraction. A woman can sense energy faster than logic. When you send multiple texts, over-explain, or try to convince her how much you care, she feels pressure. But when your energy is calm and detached, she feels mystery, the space to miss you. Desire needs space. It grows in the silence between interactions, not in constant pursuit. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." That's exactly why not chasing works. It's not indifference, it's control. You're choosing where to put your attention. You're showing that your emotions belong to you, not to her responses. Daniel told me later that during those 10 days he wasn't playing games. He genuinely wasn't worried. He knew what he brought to the table. That's what women feel. They feel when a man is secure enough to give them space. They feel when your world doesn't collapse just because they go quiet. Think about the times you over-pursued. You probably noticed that the more effort you gave, the colder she became. That's not her punishing you. That's her biology reacting. Women are drawn to polarity, masculine energy that leads, not follows. When you stop chasing, you're not being cold. You're showing strength, restraint, and patience, qualities that older men naturally have when they've lived through enough storms to know that neediness never wins. Here's the key: don't withhold affection out of fear. Do it from abundance. Keep building your world, your career, your hobbies, your peace. When she sees that your energy is already invested in purpose, not validation, she'll start chasing that calm. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Brave men aren't afraid to walk away. They don't demand attention, they command it. You can't lose what you never cling to. So here's your practice. Stop checking your phone waiting for her reply. Stop planning your next text. Instead, plan your next move in life. The less you chase, the more she feels your pull. Drop it in the comments, "I don't chase." Stick with me, because next we'll talk about how real power isn't in saying more or doing more. It's in leading without words and letting her feel your dominance before you even touch her. Number 6. The power of silent leadership. Here's something most men never figure out: leadership doesn't require noise. Real power doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly, confidently, and with intention. Women can feel when a man leads without having to say, "Follow me." It's not about control, it's about direction. It's about being the kind of man who brings calm to confusion, structure to chaos, and clarity to emotion. When you walk into a room, people feel one of two things: disturbance or stability. The man who constantly talks, explains, and tries to convince everyone of his worth sends a signal of insecurity. But the man who listens, observes, and acts, when necessary, commands respect without a single word. Silent leadership is that the ability to guide through example, not volume. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." That's the essence of quiet leadership. You don't need to tell the world who you are. You simply are. Your discipline speaks louder than your declarations. When a woman senses that steady masculine direction, she feels safe enough to surrender her own control. Silent leadership doesn't mean passivity. It means restraint. It means not reacting to every mood or demand, but instead holding your ground with calm authority. You're not dismissive, you're decisive. You choose your moves carefully. That restraint makes your presence feel solid. Women find that intoxicating because it allows them to relax into your lead without feeling forced. Let's be real today. Most men try to prove leadership through dominance or arguments. But a woman doesn't follow words. She follows energy. She follows consistency. She follows the man who does what he says and doesn't crumble when tested. Silent leadership is built in small moments, showing up on time, keeping your tone level during tension, being clear about your boundaries without needing to justify them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the masculine code in its purest form. Every time you act instead of explain, you strengthen your frame. Every time you respond with logic instead of emotion, you elevate the space around you. You become the calm center others orbit around. And that's exactly why women respond to it so strongly. Silent leadership communicates competence. It tells her, "You can rest here. You don't need to manage me." It gives her something rare: peace. When you lead quietly, she doesn't feel controlled. She feels guided. And that difference is everything. Here's how you develop it. First, slow down before reacting. When she's emotional, don't match her energy, ground it. Second, set boundaries through action, not argument. If she crosses a line, step back instead of lecturing. Third, practice being comfortable with silence. Power lives in pauses. The man who doesn't rush to fill the air holds the frame. Remember, a leader isn't defined by who follows him, he's defined by how he behaves when no one is watching. Silent leadership isn't a tactic, it's a state of being. It's the outcome of a man who knows where he's going and doesn't need applause to get there. Seneca said, "Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary, and in few words, take that to heart." You don't have to say much to be heard, you just have to live in a way that speaks for you. Stay tuned, because next we'll talk about how a sense of play, that balance of strength and lightness, keeps her addicted to your energy long after the conversation ends. Number 7. Playfulness keeps her hooked. Here's the thing most men misunderstand. Being serious all the time doesn't make you strong, it makes you stiff. Real masculine energy isn't just about control, discipline, or composure. It's also about playfulness. That spark, that teasing confidence, that ability to make her feel both safe and slightly off balance, that's what keeps her addicted to your presence. Women fall for men who can carry both power and lightness. Let's take an example. Ethan, 48, a marketing consultant from Austin, met Sarah, 43, through mutual friends at a coffee shop. He wasn't the most handsome or the richest guy there, but his vibe was magnetic. When Sarah joked that he looked like a retired rock star, Ethan didn't deny it or get defensive. He smiled and said, "Yeah, I quit before fame could ruin me." That one line made her laugh, but it also revealed something deeper, confidence mixed with humor. It told her he didn't take himself too seriously. From that moment, she leaned in. That's the secret. Playfulness is tension without pressure. It's not clownish behavior. It's charm under control. It says, "I'm comfortable enough with myself to enjoy you, not perform for you." And women can feel that distinction. Playfulness is powerful because it balances masculine authority with emotional freedom. When you tease her lightly, when you smile after saying something bold, you're inviting her into your energy without forcing it. It's a dance you lead, she follows, but both of you enjoy the rhythm. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Take full account of what excellence really means, and then say and do what is worthy of it." That applies to playfulness too. True play doesn't come from immaturity, it comes from mastery. You can only be playful when you're grounded enough to not need control. A man who's at ease with himself brings lightness even into serious moments, and that lightness is deeply attractive. When Ethan later told me about his dynamic with Sarah, he said something interesting. "She told me I made her feel young again." That's the power of playfulness. It disarms a woman's defenses. It brings her back into her feminine emotional flow. You see, life hardens, people, bills, deadlines, heartbreaks. When she's with you, she doesn't want more weight, she wants release. And a man who knows when to smile, when to tease, when to wink instead of lecture, that man becomes unforgettable. But don't mistake this for goofiness or try-hard humor. The difference between charm and desperation is tone. A man who's playful isn't seeking approval, he's enjoying the moment. His eyes say, "I see you, and I'm not afraid of you." That subtle confidence makes her drop her guard faster than any line or compliment ever could. Playfulness also shows emotional intelligence. It means you can read energy, adjust your approach, and keep things fluid. When tension rises, you diffuse it with ease. When she tests you, you smile instead of defend yourself. You're unpredictable in the best way, solid yet light. Here's the truth: women chase the feeling you give them, not your words. If she laughs with you, she bonds with you. If she feels joy around you, she'll crave your presence. And the man who can make her feel safe and playful, that's the man she won't forget. So take this with you. Don't be afraid to enjoy the game. Flirt without need. smile without reason. Because the moment you stop trying to impress her and start enjoying her, she'll fall deeper than you expect. Stick with me, because next we'll uncover how this same balance of calm, power, and playfulness transforms into something deeper, emotional magnetism that makes her feel like you've known her forever. Number 8. She respects what she can't control. Let's get something straight, my friend. A woman doesn't truly love what she controls. She might enjoy the comfort, she might like the attention, but deep down she respects what she can't fully own. And respect, not affection, is what sustains attraction. When she realizes she can't bend your emotions, when she can't predict your reactions, that's when you become unforgettable. Stoics understood this long before modern psychology caught up. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's your foundation. A woman feels drawn to the man who is governed by purpose, not persuasion. The man whose peace cannot be disturbed by her moods, her silence, or even her withdrawal. Because that kind of control, not over her but over yourself, is the rarest form of power she'll ever experience. Let's be real, most men fail here. The moment she pulls away, they chase. The moment she tests them, they argue. The moment she withholds affection, they overcompensate. That's emotional slavery disguised as love. And the truth is, she doesn't want a man who bends to every emotional storm she throws. She wants to feel the strength of someone who remains still in chaos. When she realizes she can't manipulate your emotions, not because you're cold, but because you're centered, something shifts inside her. She stops testing and starts trusting. She might not even understand why she's drawn to you, but she'll feel safe in your steadiness and intrigued by your independence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When you embody that principle, you're not playing games, you're living grounded masculinity. You're saying, "You can do what you want, I remain who I am." That's what commands respect. See, modern dating has created a generation of men obsessed with approval. They try to please, to prove, to persuade. But that only leads to resentment, because women don't want to feel like they have emotional authority over a man. They want to feel inspired by his self-control. When she can't control you, she starts to respect you. And respect is the doorway to genuine admiration. She starts to realize she can't predict your every move, not because you're playing some cold strategy, but because your focus isn't centered on her validation. You're busy leading your life, mastering your craft, and holding your frame. That mystery, that quiet dominance is what ignites her feminine energy. Here's the paradox: the more you try to win her approval, the less you have it. But the more you live according to your standards, your purpose, and your rhythm, the more she naturally aligns with your energy. She feels safe surrendering because she senses you won't crumble if she pulls away. That's why emotional independence is the ultimate masculine edge. It's what makes older men so magnetic. They've lived enough to know that control is an illusion, but composure is a choice. So remember this: the moment she realizes she can't predict or manipulate you, that's the moment she starts to trust you. Not out of fear, but out of respect. Because a man she can't control is a man she can finally relax with. Seneca said it best: "He who controls himself is greater than he who conquers a city." That's your reminder. You don't need to dominate her. You just need to master yourself. Stay with me, because next we'll talk about how that same emotional discipline, when combined with subtle presence, creates something even deeper. The kind of aura that makes her feel your power without you saying a word. Number 9. Authentic desire never ages. Here's something you need to understand, my friend. Desire doesn't fade with time. It fades with pretense. What truly keeps a woman drawn to a man regardless of his age is authentic desire. Not neediness, not desperation, but that grounded, self-assured pull that comes from knowing what you want and not being afraid to express it. Let's talk about this in real life. James, 52, a carpenter from Denver, met Elena, 41, at a local art gallery. He didn't approach her with pickup lines or flashy compliments. He simply said, "You've got a way of looking at things that tells me you notice details most people miss." It wasn't rehearsed, it was real. He wasn't trying to impress her. He was expressing genuine attraction with calm confidence. And you know what happened? She leaned in. Because women feel it when your desire is authentic. It's in your tone, your body language, your stillness. It's subtle but unmistakable, the kind of desire that comes from a man who doesn't need her approval to feel whole. Authentic desire isn't about chasing youth or playing games. It's about connection that transcends age. It's the energy of a man who's lived enough to understand that physical attraction is only one layer. What really draws a woman in is emotional gravity. When you want her but don't need her, that's when she feels the tension that pulls her closer. Think about it. A younger man often burns with hunger, but his energy is scattered, unstable. An older man burns with purpose. His fire is slower, deeper, controlled. He knows when to hold eye contact, when to say nothing, when to make his presence felt without a single move. That's what women crave, a man who's not driven by impulse but by intention. Desire, when rooted in authenticity, doesn't depend on physical perfection. It depends on awareness. You see her not as an object but as an experience. You notice her expression, her tone, her silence. And when you engage her from that awareness, she feels seen, not pursued. That's where the connection turns from surface level to magnetic. Women often say, confidence is sexy, but what they truly mean is, authenticity is irresistible. When a man is authentic, he becomes ageless. His presence has depth. His touch feels deliberate. His words carry weight because they're not filtered through insecurity or fear. Let's be real, women can smell fake desire from miles away. They know when a man's compliment is empty, when his attention is performative. But when it's real, when your eyes meet hers and there's no performance, no agenda, just steady intent, that's when she softens. She feels safe enough to be feminine, and that's when desire becomes mutual. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no time on what others think of you. It is your actions that define you." That's the essence of authenticity. You express what's true without apology, without hesitation. And that truth, that quiet confidence, is timeless. So whether you're 35 or 65, the rule remains the same. She doesn't fall for your age, your looks, or your status. She falls for your presence. The way you make her feel when she's near you. The way your energy steadies hers. Authentic desire never ages because it isn't about what's external, it's about what's felt. Be that man whose fire burns steady. The one who knows what he wants, who stands firm in who he is, and who leads with calm passion. That's the kind of desire that doesn't fade, it evolves. Stay tuned, because next we'll uncover the final secret, how to become the kind of man she not only desires, but admits she can't replace. Number 10. Be the calm she can't live without. Here's the truth, my friend. A woman might be drawn to your looks, your charm, or your ambition, but what keeps her coming back is your calm. Not the kind that's passive or distant, but the deep, grounded calm that makes her feel safe just by being near you. In a world where everyone's shouting for attention, the man who radiates quiet power becomes unforgettable. Calm isn't weakness, it's command. It's the ability to stand firm when life or she throws chaos your way. A woman's emotions can shift like waves, but your presence must stay like the ocean floor, unshaken, steady, and sure. When she sees that you don't get lost in her storms, she realizes you're different. You're not here to fight her emotions, you're here to hold space for them. That's what earns her trust, and ultimately her devotion. Let's get real. Most men react. They argue, defend, over-explain, or pull away. They get pulled into her emotional rhythm and lose control of their own. But the older man who has learned to breathe through tension, to observe before responding, to speak less but mean more, he becomes magnetic. That kind of emotional composure is rare, and she knows it. When she's anxious, your calm becomes her anchor. When she's distant, your patience becomes her reassurance. When she tests you, your stillness becomes her reflection, showing her that no amount of emotional noise can shake your center. And that right there is the point where respect turns into something deeper: dependence. Not the toxic kind, but emotional reliance. Because when a woman feels like your presence is her peace, she can't help but want more of it. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." That's the essence of masculine calm. It's forged through trial, heartbreak, and failure. You earn that steadiness by walking through fire without losing yourself. And when you bring that energy into a relationship, she feels it immediately. You're not acting calm, you are calm. It's who you've become. That's why women are drawn to older men who embody emotional balance. It's not just about experience, it's about energy. You've seen enough of life to know that panic never solves anything. You've been through enough to understand that silence is sometimes the strongest response. And when you carry that kind of quiet control, she feels both challenged and comforted at once. She starts to crave that stability. Your calm becomes addictive, not because it's dramatic, but because it's constant. You make her feel like she can exhale. And that's something no thrill or chase can replace. Understand, this calm isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering it. You're not detached, you're deliberate. You move slow, you think clear, you speak with weight. That's the kind of energy that dominates without domination. It's the essence of Stoic masculinity: strength without noise, leadership without ego. When you embody that kind of calm, you stop being the man she dates. You become the man she depends on, the man she turns to when everything else feels uncertain. That's what it means to be irreplaceable, not to make her need you, but to make her feel safe in your presence. Because here's the secret: lust fades, but peace never does. And when your energy gives her peace, your presence becomes something she can't and won't live without. You've just learned why women are drawn to older men, not because of money, status, or charm, but because of presence, purpose, and calm. It's not about chasing her, it's about mastering yourself. When you move with patience, lead with quiet strength, and hold your frame through every test, you stop being an option. You become the anchor she can't replace. If you found real value in this, consider joining the membership for deeper lessons on masculine psychology and Stoic discipline content designed only for men who are ready to rise above the noise. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This is where men come to sharpen their minds, strengthen their spirit, and reclaim their power. So you've probably been told that if a woman's not interested, there's nothing you can do, that attraction is either there or it isn't. But that's not entirely true. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why. Welcome back to the channel. If you're tired of being the guy who chases, the guy who waits for a reply, or the guy who constantly wonders if he's enough, this one is for you. Because this isn't about tricks or pickup lines. This is about understanding something deeper: how attraction works on a psychological level, and how to flip the dynamic in your favor, even when she seems disinterested. Now here's where it gets controversial. Most women are conditioned to believe they're the prize, no matter who they are or what they bring to the table. Society feeds that idea non-stop. And because of that, they walk into interactions already believing you're going to want them, chase them, and prove yourself. But the minute you stop playing that script and instead become the man she has to qualify herself to, everything changes. You go from being background noise to the signal she can't ignore. She starts chasing you. And that's what we're breaking down today: the mindset, behaviors, and subtle shifts that make women pursue you, even if they didn't see you that way at first. It's not about manipulation. It's about reversing years of conditioning where men were taught to beg for attention instead of commanding it. So stay locked in. Number 1. Stop giving her free attention. One of the biggest mistakes men make without even realizing it is giving women constant, unearned attention. This is the fastest way to kill any chance of attraction. When a woman knows you're always available, always complimenting her, always replying fast, always watching her stories or liking her posts, she stops seeing you as a challenge. And if there's no challenge, there's no chase. Women don't value attention they didn't have to earn. And most guys are handing it out like candy, hoping it'll make her like them more. But it does the exact opposite. It makes you look predictable, emotionally needy, and worst of all, boring. Attention is power. And if you're giving it away too easily, you're telling her that you have nothing else going on. You're telling her she doesn't need to do anything to keep your interest, so she won't. The guys women chase are the ones who don't throw attention at them 24/7. These men make women wonder what they're thinking, what they're doing, and who else has their focus. That mystery alone builds interest. Not because you're trying to play games, but because your attention is rare and therefore valuable. Let's say there's a guy named Marcus. He meets a girl, she's beautiful, flirty, and at first he's tempted to text her every morning, react to all her photos and stay on her radar constantly. And instead, Marcus flips the script. He doesn't flood her with compliments. He doesn't message her unless there's something to say. He keeps the conversation fun but short. And then he disappears for a while. She notices. She wonders why he's not acting like every other guy. And soon she's texting him first. She's checking if he saw her new picture. She's chasing, not because he manipulated her, but because he didn't make his attention cheap. The takeaway is simple. Your attention should be earned, not handed out. Women respect the men who don't make them the center of their world immediately. The less freely you give it, the more she'll want it. Number 2. Act like she's not special. A lot of guys don't even realize they're doing this, but the moment they meet a woman they find attractive, their entire energy shifts. Suddenly she's treated like she's above the rest. Their tone changes, their effort doubles, and everything becomes about keeping her interested. That's exactly the kind of behavior that makes a woman lose interest before anything even begins. The truth is, most attractive women are used to being treated like royalty just for showing up. They don't have to earn anything. Guys trip over themselves just to get their number or make them smile. It's not new to them, it's boring. So when you're one more guy adding to that noise, you become forgettable. No matter how genuine or kind you are, you won't stand out if you put her on a pedestal from the start. When you act like she's not special, you break the pattern. You show her that you're not easily impressed, and that throws her off in a good way. She starts paying attention. She starts wondering what makes you different. That's where curiosity grows. And once she's curious, she starts investing. Now, this doesn't mean you're cold or disrespectful. It means you're treating her like any other person. Someone who still has to earn your interest just like you have to earn hers. When you hold yourself to that standard, you flip the dynamic. You're not chasing her, you're evaluating her. You're seeing if she fits into your world, not begging to be in hers. Most guys can't hold that frame because they've been taught that showing immediate interest and admiration is the way to win a woman over. But women are wired to chase men who don't give their approval so easily. If she senses that you give her special treatment just because she's attractive, she'll stop putting in effort. What really shifts the game is your mindset. You have to believe that no matter how beautiful she is, it doesn't guarantee her a spot in your life. Your energy, time, and attention are valuable, and not everyone qualifies for it. When you carry yourself with that kind of quiet confidence, it speaks louder than words. She's not special until she gives you a reason to see her that way, and when you live by that, she'll feel it. That's when the dynamic flips. She starts chasing the validation you're not handing out. Not because you're playing games, but because you respect yourself. Number 3. Create distance on purpose. Let me tell you something most men don't realize until it's too late. Closeness kills the chase. It's counterintuitive, I know. You'd think that being more available, more attentive, more emotionally present would pull her in. But the truth, closeness, when it's not earned, makes you predictable, and predictable men don't spark desire. See, women don't just fall for men, they fall into mystery, and mystery lives in space. When you create intentional distance, not as a game but as a standard, you trigger something primal in her. That distance doesn't push her away, it pulls her in. Because now she starts to wonder, where is he? What's on his mind? Is he losing interest? Am I losing him? And that tension, that emotional friction, is what ignites her curiosity. Curiosity becomes craving. Craving becomes chase. Now let's get real clear on something. I'm not talking about ghosting. I'm not talking about punishing her with silence or going cold to manipulate her. That's childish. I'm talking about creating space through discipline. You step back because you have a purpose to pursue. You don't reply immediately because your time is structured. You don't overshare because your emotional world is private, not public. That's what distance looks like in a man who knows himself. And women notice it instantly. Because most men can't do it. Most men are in constant validation mode, texting non-stop, always checking in, always available, which makes them disposable. But the man who walks away without drama, the man who can be alone without looking lost, that man becomes unforgettable. Now here's where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic doesn't chase noise. He centers himself. He lives from the inside out. And because of that, he doesn't panic when things get quiet. He doesn't cling when things feel uncertain. He understands that space is not rejection, it's power. Because that distance, when used right, forces her to reflect. She starts thinking about what she said, how she acted, whether she's meeting your standard. She starts evaluating herself through your calm withdrawal. Not because you're manipulating her, because you're leading. And let's be honest, women chase men who lead with silence more than men who follow with noise. Let me paint a scenario for you. You've been talking to her for a few weeks. The connection's good. She starts getting a little distant. Instead of chasing, you back off. You don't blow up her phone. You don't double text. You don't ask what's wrong. You simply live your life. You go to the gym. You focus on work. You read. You think. You train. You build. She feels it. She feels that emotional vacuum. And because it was created by a man who has depth and options, she fills it with her attention. She reaches out. She tries harder. She chases. That's how distance flips the dynamic. And this works not because you're doing less, but because you're doing it with control. Remember this, the man who creates space on purpose will always be more attractive than the one who fills it in fear. So the next time you feel the urge to close the gap too soon, pause. Ask yourself, am I closing this space for connection or because I can't handle the tension? Because if it's the second, you're not leading, you're leaking. And women don't chase leaks, they chase strength. Now I want to hear from you. Comment below, I've seen what distance does. And if this part of the video hits something deep in you, don't forget to subscribe and become a member. This channel isn't for boys who need approval. It's for men who know their value and live like it. Number 4, let her feel replaced. Let's get brutally honest for a second. Nothing makes a woman chase harder than the possibility of being replaced. That moment when she realizes she's not the only one who could have had your attention. That you're not sitting by the phone waiting. That you're not spiraling over analyzing her texts. No, you're already gone. You've moved. Mentally, emotionally, even physically. And maybe, just maybe, someone else has your attention now. That realization, it hits her like a storm. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Women don't miss the guy who begged. They miss the one who didn't flinch when she pulled away. See, most men, when a woman loses interest, they double down. They try harder. They ask, "What did I do wrong?" They apologize for things they didn't even do. But the man who lets her feel replaced, he doesn't explain, he doesn't announce anything, he just disappears gracefully. Now don't twist this. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about lying or parading new women in her face to get a reaction. That's insecure energy. This is about shifting your center of gravity from her to you. Because once she feels like she's no longer your priority, something primal kicks in. Her ego takes a hit, her curiosity spikes, and her emotional mind begins to question everything. Was I not enough? Why didn't he fight harder? Who's giving him what I didn't? And in that space of uncertainty, she starts to chase. Now, from a Stoic mindset, this isn't revenge. It's restraint. It's understanding that attraction grows in absence, not in overexposure. The Stoic man isn't cold. He's composed. He knows his energy is valuable, so he gives it only to what reflects his values. And a woman who disrespects, manipulates, or pulls away for attention, she doesn't reflect his values. So he walks, he builds, he evolves, and maybe without needing to say a word, she feels it. Let me give you a real-world picture. You're dating a woman. It's been good. But suddenly she starts acting distant, not replying like before, flaky with plans, giving you breadcrumbs. Now the average guy, he gets anxious. He tries harder. He sends flowers. He asks, "What's wrong, you?" You vanish from her emotional radar. Not in bitterness, not in anger, but in dignity. You stop texting. You stop explaining. You stop chasing. You redirect your energy back to yourself, your gym, your business, your brotherhood, your purpose. And just when she thinks she's got all the control, she feels it. She checks your story and sees you out. Focused. Grounded. She doesn't know where your heart is anymore. And that's what drives her crazy. Because once a woman feels like she's been replaced, she questions her place in your world. And if she ever valued that place, she'll come running back to reclaim it. But here's the catch. You're not doing this to bait her. You're doing this because you refuse to beg for what should be freely chosen. Attraction isn't something you negotiate. It's something you radiate. And nothing radiates stronger than a man who can walk away and not look back. Now I want you to lock this in. The man who replaces her peace with mystery wins. Let her feel replaced not through drama, but through your absence of need. Because once she feels like her spot wasn't guaranteed, she'll either level up or fall behind. And you'll keep rising regardless. Comment below. I've walked away before. And if this part spoke truth to you, subscribe and join the brotherhood. We don't chase validation, we build value. Number 5. Show interest, then pull back. Let's talk about one of the most psychologically powerful dynamics in attraction. The emotional whiplash. Not in a manipulative way, not to hurt, but to stir something deep in her instincts. You show interest. You lean in just enough for her to feel your energy. Then right when she starts leaning back, you step away. Not cold, not distant, just calm, composed, mysteriously busy. That subtle shift, it does more than hours of flirting or validation ever could. Because here's the truth. Women are wired to chase emotional contrast. When everything's too predictable, too available, too easy, it feels safe, but not seductive. Let me paint the picture. You meet her, Your vibe is calm. She feels your presence. You don't try too hard, but you're clearly into her. You listen, you laugh, you connect. Then the next day she texts, and you don't jump at the buzz. You take your time. You get back to her when you're free, not when you're idle. You're showing her interest. But you're not smothering her. You're not anxiously texting good morning and good night. You're not just checking in to keep her thinking about you. Instead, you're giving her something she didn't expect: space. And in that space, something powerful happens. She starts thinking, why did he pull back? Was it something I did? Wait, is he losing interest? That's when emotional attachment begins to form. Not because of what you gave her, but because of what you took away after offering just enough. Think of it like fire. You don't keep throwing logs on a fire every 10 seconds. You let oxygen stir the flames, and that's what pulling back does. Now here's where most guys screw this up. They either chase too early or pull back without first showing genuine interest. And both of those create disconnection, not attraction. But the man who leans in with confidence, shows his warmth, offers presence, then respectfully pulls back into his own life. That's the man she remembers. It tells her, I like you, but I don't need you. I'm open to you, but I'm not empty without you. That's rare. That's powerful. That's masculine restraint. From a Stoic perspective, this is emotional mastery. You're not being reactive. You're not driven by fear of loss or the need for constant reassurance. You're grounded in your values. You're generous with your energy, but never reckless. And that's what makes you magnetic. Here's an example. You go on an amazing date. She lights up. There's tension. You both feel it. The next morning, don't send a 5-paragraph "I had a great time" essay. Instead, you send nothing. Then maybe the following afternoon you drop a calm, confident message. Had fun last night. You've got a bold energy. I like that. Then you disappear again. You're not punishing her. You're giving her time to wonder, to crave. And that craving doesn't come from validation. It comes from contrast. Every time you pull back, you force her to reflect on her own desire, on how much your presence meant, on what it feels like when you're not around. And when a woman starts thinking about you in your absence, she starts chasing you in your presence. Now let me be clear, this isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about emotional leadership. You set the rhythm of the connection. You pace it, because you're not here to overwhelm her. You're here to stand out from every man who's trying too hard to stay in her life. Show interest, be real, then pull back into your purpose. Let her feel your warmth, then miss your fire. That's when desire is born. Comment below, I've done this, and it worked. And if this message hit home, you know what to do. Subscribe and stay sharp. We're not chasing approval here. We're mastering attraction. Number 6. Make her compete with your lifestyle. Most men try to make a woman the center of their universe. They cancel plans. They rearrange priorities. They pause their mission, all in hopes she'll stick around. But here's the truth. A woman doesn't want to be your purpose. She wants to orbit it. She doesn't fall in love with a man who drops everything for her. She falls for the man who has so much going on, she has to earn a place in his world. And that's what making her compete with your lifestyle really means. It's not about playing games. It's not about acting too busy. It's about actually being busy with a life that fuels you. A life that inspires you, challenges you, and stretches you. And when a woman sees that, really sees that, she leans in, she adjusts, she tries harder. Because now she's not just winning you over, she's competing with the passion you give to something bigger than her. And that competition, that's where obsession begins. Let's break this down. Let's say you've got a man who's on his path. He trains, he reads, he's got purpose. He leads a business or a team or a mission. His time is protected. He doesn't check his phone 24/7. He has structure, direction, boundaries. Now enter the woman. She's curious, intrigued. He gives her attention, but only within the framework of his life. He doesn't cancel gym for her. He doesn't flake on a meeting just to call her. He doesn't spend hours texting instead of building his vision. She's not being ignored. She's being shown that if she wants more time with him, she'll have to bring something real to the table. That dynamic is electrifying. Why? Because biologically, psychologically, women are drawn to high-value men. Men who lead, men who move, men who pursue meaning. A man who lives for her quickly becomes boring, but a man who lives for something greater, he becomes unforgettable. And here's what most guys get wrong. They think making her compete means creating jealousy. Number. You don't need other women to make her feel replaced. You need a lifestyle she could lose access to, a vibe, a mission, a presence. When she sees you're lit up by your craft, your discipline, your goals, she starts wondering, am I adding value to his world? And when a woman starts questioning her value in your world, that's when she starts investing. She dresses up a little more. She plans dates. She makes sure her energy is felt. Because you've built a frame of earned intimacy, she's not entitled to your time, she's rewarded with it. From a Stoic lens, this is power through presence. You're not cold or arrogant. You're simply anchored in your path. You don't adjust your core to gain someone's affection. You hold your center, and that center is what pulls people in. Here's a real-life scenario. Let's say you're building a business. You're locked in. Mornings are for deep work, afternoons for fitness, evenings for connection. A woman wants to meet at 10 a.m. for coffee. You say, I've got a window at 1:30. Let me know. That alone sends a message. It says you matter. But so does my mission. It also says, if you want access to me, you step into my reality, not drag me into yours. And here's the beauty of it. The more you live this way, not perform it, but live it, the more magnetic you become. Because women don't fantasize about the man who waits around. They dream about the one who's so dialed in that getting his attention feels like a win. Comment below. I won't shrink my world for anyone. And if you're feeling that shift, stay right here. We've got more power to unlock. Number 7. Reward her effort, not her looks. Let's be real. She already knows she's attractive. She's been told since she was 12. She's got hearts in her DMs. Strangers open doors. Waiters smile longer. Men stare too long. But if you want to be the man she remembers, don't reward her looks. Reward her effort. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. Most guys go straight for the obvious. You're so beautiful. Damn, you're hot. You're the prettiest woman I've ever seen. And what does that tell her? It tells her you're just like every other guy, hypnotized by surface. Now, flip the script. What if you said this instead? I noticed how you stayed off your phone all night. Or you're really thoughtful with how you listen. Suddenly, gives thoughtful gifts, makes time, brings peace into your space, and all you do is comment on how sexy she looks. You're training her to prioritize surface. But if you anchor your attention in her behavior, her consistency, her growth, you're giving her something rare, meaningful recognition. This is where desire deepens. Because now, to get your approval, she has to step up, not just show up. She starts thinking, how can I impress this man beyond my body? And that's when she starts to fall. Because she sees, you're not fooled by fantasy, you're anchored in reality. Let's take it to a Stoic lens. Stoicism teaches us that virtue matters more than appearance. Marcus Aurelius didn't chase women because they were pretty. He valued discipline, kindness, patience, resilience. So when you lead with that standard, you filter. You attract women who want to bring more than a pretty face to the table. They bring presence, insight, strength. And if you're a man on a mission, you need that. You need someone who complements your clarity, not distracts from it. Now here's the twist. It's not about never complimenting her looks. It's about timing. Do it sparingly. Do it when she's least expecting it. Do it after you've praised something deeper. That way it doesn't feel like flattery. It feels like a gift, a bonus, not the currency you trade for attention. And here's a trick. The next time she looks incredible, hold eye contact and say nothing. Just look and smile. Let her feel your presence, not your approval. That silence, that restraint, it'll drive her crazy. Because you're not just another man melting over beauty. You're the one who sees beyond it. You become the challenge, the man she can't read, the one who rewards what most men ignore. That is what makes her chase. That is what she never forgets. Because women are used to being praised for what they were born with. But when you praise what they choose, you unlock a different level of connection. She starts rising to meet you. She starts bringing more. She starts chasing the respect you reflect. And when that happens, you're no longer just the man she likes. You're the man she remembers. Comment below, I reward effort. And if this is hitting something real for you, don't move. What's next will show you how power really works. Number 8. She wants what she can't fully have. Let me tell you something brutally honest. Scarcity seduces. It always has, and it always will. You want to make a woman chase you. Don't hand yourself over on a silver platter. Don't let her feel like she already has you in the palm of her hand. Because the moment she feels total ownership, the chase ends. Here's what most men don't understand. Desire thrives in uncertainty. And the minute she knows exactly where she stands, exactly what you'll do, exactly how you'll react, she starts to pull back. Not because she's cruel, but because the mystery is gone. What pulls a woman in, what keeps her energy pointed at you, is that emotional tension between does he want me and am I losing him? That space. That's where her mind loops. That's where she thinks about you at night. That's where the chase lives. Now let's be clear. This isn't about being a jerk or playing games. It's about preserving your edge. It's about staying unpredictable in a world where most men give it all away in week 1. You don't need to disappear, but you do need to remain just out of emotional reach. She shouldn't feel like she has access to every inch of your inner world. She shouldn't feel like you'll always be there no matter how she shows up, because the second she's certain you'll never leave, she stops trying. Here's a real-world example. Think about a guy who never cancels plans, always replies instantly, showers her with compliments and makes her the center of his world. At first she's flattered, then she's bored. Why? Because he's completely available. And full availability doesn't feel romantic. It feels predictable. Now, flip the script. Imagine a man who listens, connects, and shows interest. But then he's back to his own world, his business, his mission, his personal growth, and she's left wondering, where's he at? Is he thinking of me? Did I mess up? Is he seeing someone else? That's when she starts to chase. Because now she's not just attracted, she's invested. She wants to solve the puzzle. She wants to get back into your orbit. And the more she works to close that emotional gap, the more her desire builds. Stoicism teaches detachment, not coldness, but control. Control over your emotions. Control over your availability. Control over your own attention. So instead of craving closeness, you master the art of space, and that space becomes power. It's the same principle ancient warriors used. They never revealed everything at once. They kept a layer of mystery always. You want her addicted. Don't let her decode you fully. Let her sense there's more she hasn't touched. Let her know she doesn't own your heart just because she has your attention. That's what drives her wild. It's the fantasy of unlocking the full version of you, of being the one to finally break your shell, to earn what no other woman has reached. When she senses you're holding something back, when you walk away at the peak of connection, when you stay composed, when she expects you to chase, she can't stop thinking. And the best part, this isn't manipulation. It's just not over-investing in someone who hasn't earned full access. You maintain your standard. You keep your world spinning. You let her meet you halfway, or not at all. Because the moment you become fully available, you become forgettable. But when you stay just out of reach, you become unforgettable. Comment below, I never give all of me. Because the men who give everything away instantly, they get remembered briefly. But the men who leave her wanting more, they live in her mind rent-free. Number 9. Masculine focus makes her insecure. Let's get something straight. A man locked in on his purpose is dangerous, not just to the world but to a woman's emotions. And not in a bad way. See, most men crumble the second they get a little attention. They drop their priorities. They lose momentum. They trade progress for proximity. But not the focused man. The focused man knows his mission comes first, always. That kind of energy, it makes her second-guess her place. Not because you're treating her poorly, but because she knows she's not the center of your universe. And ironically, that's what pulls her in deeper. Now let's talk psychology. Women are emotional creatures. They tune into presence, attention, energy. When you're laser-focused on your goals, you create a gravitational pull that doesn't include her by default. That triggers something primal. She feels the need to win you, to interrupt your focus, to become part of your world, because she knows she's not the core of it. And when a woman senses that your energy isn't wrapped around her 24/7, she starts to wonder, who is he becoming? Why doesn't he need me like other guys do? What if I lose him to his purpose? That's when insecurity creeps in. And it's not the kind of insecurity that pushes her away. It's the kind that pulls her closer. Because when a man refuses to chase, when he's too busy building, conquering, improving, she starts chasing. Why? Because masculine focus is magnetic. It's the opposite of desperation. It's the opposite of neediness. It's stability drive and stoic control wrapped in one frame. And when you carry that, you don't have to say a word. Your energy speaks louder than any compliment. Let me paint a real picture. Imagine you're working late on a Friday. She texts, "Miss you." You smile, acknowledge it, and keep grinding. You're not cold. You're just committed. You're not ignoring her. You're pursuing something bigger. That sends a stronger message than flowers ever could. She starts thinking, wow, he's not like the others. He's not here waiting on me. He's too busy building a life I want to be part of. That's power. That's masculine discipline. That's how you flip the dynamic. Most guys think the path to her heart is constant reassurance, attention, and showing up at her every whim. But here's the truth. What she wants is a man whose mind she can't fully steal. She wants to feel like she's fighting for a place in your world, not being handed one for free. Now don't twist this. It's not about being distant for no reason. It's not about being emotionally unavailable. It's about being so clear in your vision that she either joins your path or watches you walk it without her. That's the kind of man she respects. That's the kind of man she remembers. That's the kind of man she dreams about when she's alone. Because every time she reaches for your attention and you're still focused, she wonders what it would feel like to truly have it. That's what keeps her chasing. That's what makes her stay up at night. That's what creates that unshakable emotional tension that no amount of flirting can replace. So the next time you feel the pull to put her first, ask yourself, is this helping her feel something or helping her feel nothing? Because when your world doesn't revolve around her, she spins harder to get into orbit. And the more she chases your attention, the more invested she becomes. It's a paradox. The more unavailable you are to distraction, the more desirable you become. You don't get there by playing games. You get there by locking in, by being the man who shows up to his vision first and lets women adjust to that standard. So if you want her wanting more, stay focused. Stay grounded. Stay in motion. Because when your attention is a reward, not a guarantee, she never stops trying to earn it. Comment below, I stay locked in. That one sentence, it separates the men who are chased from the ones who are forgotten. Number 10. Emotional detachment is erotic power. Let's get this straight. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you're a jerk. And it doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're in control. And that right there, that's erotic. There's something deeply attractive, almost intoxicating about a man who feels things but isn't ruled by them. A man who can stay centered no matter what storm she brings. That's not indifference. That's power. Now, most men get this part wrong. They either try to shut down, completely acting numb and distant, or they do the opposite, getting pulled into every emotional high and low she throws at them. But the man she remembers, the one she obsesses over, he doesn't shut off, he just doesn't lose himself. That's the core of emotional detachment. It's rooted in Stoicism, a philosophy built around mastering your reactions, not denying your emotions. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And when you bring that energy into a romantic dynamic, especially one with a woman who's used to men unraveling around her, it hits different. Think about it. When you don't flinch at her mood swings, when you don't chase her validation, when you can sit with tension and not need to fix it, she starts to feel something deeper. It's not comfort. It's not familiarity. It's tension. And tension is the foundation of seduction. See, most guys rush to comfort a woman every time there's discomfort. They want to be liked. They want to prove they're safe. But you're not here to be safe. You're here to be grounded. Because when you stand in emotional stillness, she feels unstable in a way she can't resist. Why? Because she's used to power through emotion. She's used to influencing men through highs and lows. But when that doesn't work on you, she gets curious. She gets intrigued. And that curiosity, it becomes obsession. Now let's get specific. Imagine she pulls away, starts testing you. Maybe she goes cold, doesn't text for a few hours. Wants to see if you'll panic. Most guys would. They double text, send a voice note, try to make her feel better. But you hold the line. You keep doing what you were already doing. That sends a clear message. Your peace isn't negotiable. Your confidence isn't up for grabs. And your attention, it's not for sale. And here's the twist. She wants to be the one to break your calm, not because she's malicious, but because it tells her she matters. But when you don't give her that control, when you stay emotionally centered even as she throws sparks, that's what drives her wild. Because erotic power isn't just about what you say or do, it's about what you withhold. Your reactions, your need to explain, your fear of loss. When she sees none of that, she's hooked. Because emotional detachment says, I want you, but I don't need you. And that sentence, even unspoken, speaks louder than any sweet talk ever could. It tells her she's in the presence of a man who doesn't live to please, a man who's already whole. And if she wants to be part of that, she has to rise to his standard, That dynamic is rare. That's why she doesn't forget it. That's why it lingers in her body long after you've walked away. Not because you touched her, but because she couldn't touch your emotions unless you allowed it. You flipped the game, and now she's chasing something she can't fully grasp. So remember this. When you master emotional detachment, you stop chasing women and start attracting them effortlessly. Because no woman stays obsessed with a man who needs her, but she never forgets the man who didn't. That's the real erotic edge. That's the power most men never develop, and the edge you carry when you walk the Stoic path. If this hits, comment "I hold the power," because the man who does never has to beg, never has to chase. He just stands still while they come to him. That's it, brother. Now you know. Chasing is weak, attraction is earned. And when you stand in your power, calm, focused, detached, she feels it, she thinks about it, she craves it. But here's the truth. Most men will never practice this. They'll keep chasing, keep explaining, keep wondering why she loses interest. You're not like most men. And if you've made it this far, you already know this channel isn't for the average guy. It's for the man building discipline, silence, and strength. The one who plays the long game. The one who walks the Stoic path. So, if that's you, subscribe now. Hit that button. Join the tribe of men who get it. And if you're ready to take it deeper, join the Stoic Brotherhood. Exclusive content, real conversations, no fluff, no games, just power. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Stay grounded, stay dangerous, and never forget, she chases what she fears losing. Let her chase. They say women want a good man, a kind man, a man who listens, shows up, texts back fast, and always makes her feel wanted. But let me ask you something real. If that's true, why does the guy who barely tries end up haunting her mind? Why is it the quiet one? The one who doesn't chase, who never overshares, who looks at her like he's seen it all before. Why is he the one she can't stop thinking about? The truth? Most women aren't addicted to attention. They're addicted to tension. And the man who knows how to withhold his words, his emotions, his presence is the one who makes her feel something no nice guy ever will. In this video, I'll show you exactly why that happens and how to become the man who doesn't need to try hard because his very presence already does all the work. This isn't about playing games. It's about mastering control. Stoic control. So if you're done being the man who gives too much and gets too little in return, hit subscribe now. Let's talk about why the man who acts like he's nothing becomes everything in her mind. Number 1, stop proving yourself, let her wonder. You don't need to prove anything. That's the first truth most men never, harlot alone, believe. From the moment we're young, we're taught to win approval. Be nice, be impressive, get her attention, say something clever, make her laugh, show her you're the one. But the man who keeps trying to prove himself is already losing, because every time you try to show her how great you are, you're admitting without saying it that you're not sure. And if you're not sure, why should she be? Here's the thing. Women aren't drawn to the guy who lays all his cards on the table too soon. They're drawn to the man who leaves just enough mystery. The man who doesn't need to explain who he is. He knows. And his silence, his restraint says more than his words ever could. That kind of man doesn't chase. He doesn't convince. He lets the room come to him. And she will. Because when a woman meets a man who's not trying to impress her, it messes with her expectations. She's used to guys bending over backwards for attention. She's used to flattery, validation, compliments. But when she meets a man who seems like he doesn't care whether she likes him or not, she leans in. That's when curiosity kicks in. It's not arrogance. It's calm. It's what the Stoics called self-containment. You don't need outside validation to feel like you're enough. you already are. You don't seek her approval, you observe her energy, you let her reveal herself. And when you're that grounded, it shows. In your eyes, in your tone, in how you move, how you listen, how you speak, without trying to dominate. She'll test it. She'll try to throw you off balance. Maybe with sarcasm, maybe with silence. Maybe she'll act like she's not interested just to see if you flinch. Don't. Let her wonder. Let her think. Does he even like me? Why isn't he trying harder? What's going on in his head? Because the moment she starts asking those questions, you've already created the kind of tension that most guys never will. Nice guys, on the other hand, try too hard. They smile too wide, compliment too much, lean in too far. They perform. And while that might get a polite reaction, it rarely sparks anything deeper. Here's the rule. If she already knows you want her, the game's over before it begins. But when she doesn't know, when there's ambiguity, when you show up like you've got a full life, full confidence, full peace, without needing her to fill a gap, that's when you become the one she thinks about after you're gone. You want to create attraction? Don't try harder. Pull back. Let her feel the absence of effort. Let her feel your calm. Let her see that you're a man who doesn't need to win because you already walk like you've won within. The most attractive energy you can bring isn't excitement. It's stillness. It's the man who speaks less, smiles slowly, moves with clarity. It's the man who holds his own space and makes her wonder what's behind the curtain. And that's not a game. That's power. It's the power that comes when you've mastered your own validation, when you don't need attention to feel alive, when you don't treat women like goals to achieve but like humans to observe, feel, and maybe invite in. Or maybe not. Because here's the kicker. When you no longer need her to pick you, you've already picked yourself. That's the man she can't look away from. If that hits, and you're ready to stop proving and start being, drop this in the comments. I choose calm. Now, stay locked in. What you'll hear next explains why uncertainty, not clarity, is what actually fuels a woman's obsession. Number 2. Her brain craves uncertainty. Use it. You want her to think about you when you're not around? Don't give her certainty, give her tension. Most guys try way too hard to be crystal clear with women. They think clarity equals comfort, and comfort equals connection. But that's not how attraction works. Not for her. See, a woman's desire isn't ignited by knowing exactly where she stands. It's triggered by the not knowing, by the space between what she feels and what she can't quite read in you. Her brain is wired to seek emotional resolution, but the trick is, the more you delay that resolution, the more she obsesses. We're talking about biological programming here. Back when survival depended on securing the best possible mate, a man's mystery wasn't a red flag, it was a signal of value. If he wasn't easily accessible, he must be rare. If he wasn't chasing, he must already have options. Her brain still runs that same ancient software, even in today's world of constant texting and attention. That's why the man who gives her less actually makes her feel more. When you pull back just enough, not cold, not distant, but deliberate, you become the question mark she can't stop thinking about. She replays your words. She rewrites your tone. She tells her friends she can't figure you out, and they all lean in with her. This is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's one of the most powerful psychological hooks known to man. You're not giving her validation every second. You're giving it just enough, and at random intervals. That unpredictability keeps her mind busy and her emotions deeply involved. But let's be clear. This isn't about manipulation. This is about value projection. You're not here to entertain. You're not here to chase. You're here because your time is real. Your presence means something. And when you show up, it matters because you don't flood her with energy all day long. She has to earn it. That's the key difference. Most guys are trying to prove they're enough. A Stoic man lets her prove that she is. So what does this look like in practice? You don't always reply right away. You don't always say exactly what you're thinking. You give her presence, but you don't explain yourself. When she makes a flirty comment, you smirk and change the subject. When she asks where you see this going, you say, "Let's just see how it unfolds." You're not being evasive. You're being present without attachment. You're not a puzzle she can solve in one night. And that's what she craves. Because when a woman feels uncertain, she starts to invest. She starts to initiate. She starts to fantasize about what it would mean to finally have you. The second she feels like she already does, that's when the excitement dies. The Stoics knew this. They didn't beg for validation. They stayed calm, grounded, self-contained. That energy radiates. It says, "I am complete, with or without you. And because I don't need you, your interest becomes something I observe, not something I chase." Here's the bottom line. If you're too predictable, you become forgettable. But if you can hold tension, if you can stay mysterious without being cold, you become unforgettable. You don't need to be cold. You don't need to be cruel. But you do need to understand her emotional world thrives on the unknown. If you're always available, always praising, always giving, she stops valuing it. Let her guess sometimes. Let her feel the contrast between having your attention and missing it. That contrast is what keeps her locked in. If you're ready to stop over-explaining and start letting tension do the work, drop this in the comments. I use tension. And stay with me. The next shift doesn't require any words at all, but it'll change the entire way you're seen when you enter a room. Number 3. Act like you've been there before. There's something quietly magnetic about a man who doesn't flinch. He walks into the room, scans the scene, and moves like it's nothing new. He doesn't light it up with energy. He doesn't force attention. He doesn't even want it. But he gets it because of how he carries himself. This is what it looks like to act like you've been there before. See, most guys, when they're around a beautiful woman, change. They tense up, talk too much, try too hard, act like they've entered sacred ground. Everything becomes about impressing her. They lean forward, their energy rises, their sense of self shrinks. That's when the dynamic flips. She's no longer responding to your energy. She's evaluating it. But when you act like you've seen it all before, like beauty doesn't shock you, like attention doesn't inflate your ego, like you've already stood next to amazing women and didn't fall apart, you show her something she doesn't see often: emotional authority. You become the calm in the room. And trust me, she feels it. Because when she's used to being the center of attention, and suddenly she's not, when you're not falling over yourself to compliment her, when you hold her gaze but don't chase her approval, that changes everything. Now you're not just another guy trying to impress her, you're the man she can't read. And the moment she can't read you, she starts leaning in. This is deeper than just being cool. This is about operating from abundance. A man who acts like he's been there before isn't pretending. He actually has. Or at least, he's become so internally grounded that he no longer treats every attractive woman like a once-in-a-lifetime event. He knows who he is. He knows what he brings. He knows he doesn't have to audition. That's Stoic energy, not passive, not cold, just composed, present, powerful. And when you show up like that, women don't feel like they're being hunted. They feel like they've just discovered something real, something different. Something they don't have control over yet. And that's what makes it addictive. Think about it like this. You walk into a space, you take your time, you don't over-smile, you don't laugh just to fill silence, you don't look around nervously to see who's watching you. You sit down like you've been in this seat 100 times before. Even if your heart's beating a little faster than the outside, you stay slow. You order with calm, you speak with pause, you make eye contact with ease, not force. And if she comes over, you treat her like a person, not a prize. Like someone you're curious about, not someone you need. That subtle difference changes everything. Because now, instead of you proving something to her, she starts proving something to you. She starts trying to get your attention. She starts questioning why she doesn't have your full focus yet. And that's exactly where you want to be. The Stoics had a word for this kind of presence: ataraxion, unshakable calm. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It means your feelings don't run the show. You own them. You direct them. You bring them to the surface when you decide to, not because someone triggered them. That's the real power. That's what makes a woman feel like she's around someone who's not just confident, but in full control of himself. So the next time you feel the pressure to perform, don't just breathe. Slow down. Relax your face. Speak when you mean it, not when the silence gets uncomfortable. Let her experience your presence before she hears your words. That kind of presence, it's unforgettable. And if this is the energy you want to lead with, say it in the comments. I move calm. Stick around, because the next insight will show you why giving less of yourself often makes her feel more. Number 4. Give less and she'll feel more. You've been told that love means giving everything. That connection comes from full transparency, that the more you give, the more she'll feel. But that's only half the story. The truth is, when you give too much too soon, you don't build connection, you flood it. Most guys try to build attraction by overwhelming her with energy. Constant texts, long, vulnerable confessions, back-to-back compliments, full attention, 24/7. It's well-intentioned, but it backfires. Not because you're being kind, but because you're not leaving space. Space is where feelings form. Space is where curiosity grows. Space is what makes her feel the pull. The man who gives less intentionally, calmly, confidently creates a vacuum, a magnetic pull that makes her want to close the distance. And when that desire comes from her, it's 10 times stronger. This is why emotional restraint matters more than emotional intensity. We're not saying be cold. You don't go distant. You go minimal. You go intentional. You speak with weight, not volume. You look her in the eyes, but you don't spill your whole story in one sitting. You don't give her constant access to your thoughts, your time, your energy. That scarcity makes your presence more powerful. Think about your favorite song, the one that gives you chills. Now imagine playing it on loop for 5 hours straight. What happens? You tune it out. It becomes noise. You still love it, but it no longer moves you. The same thing happens in relationships. If she never misses you, she can't desire you. So how do you give less in a way that deepens her experience? Start by being intentional with your availability. Not fake scarcity, real self-prioritization. You're not always on your phone. You don't reply instantly unless it makes sense. You don't jump to hang out every time she calls. You value your time and she starts to value it too. Next, give fewer words. Not because you're cold, but because you're measured. You don't overshare on the first date. You let your stories unfold slowly, like chapters. You make her curious. You don't flood her with flattery. One compliment, when it's earned, hits harder than 5 in a row. You also give fewer reactions. She tests you. You smile. She tries to get a rise out of you. You stay calm. You don't reward every little thing with attention. Your emotional energy is earned, not handed out. This is what creates the Stoic edge. Stoicism isn't about indifference. It's about discipline. It's about understanding that your attention, your words, your presence, they're valuable. You don't give them to prove anything. You give them when they matter. And that's what makes her feel. When she knows you're not like other guys who overshare, overcommit, and overexpose their emotions, she feels the difference. She feels the weight of every glance, every word, every moment with you, because they're not on demand. They're rare, and rarity creates meaning. In a world where most people are constantly available, the man who's slightly hard to reach becomes unforgettable. He becomes the one she replays in her head, the one she tells her friends about, the one she wonders, what's going on in his world? Why isn't he chasing like the rest? That's not a tactic. That's emotional mastery. It's understanding that desire thrives in tension, not saturation. You want her to feel more? Give her less, but make what you give count. One powerful look is better than a dozen hollow compliments. One silent pause can say more than a monologue. One thoughtful message can echo longer than a string of emojis. So, if you're ready to stop overwhelming and start commanding emotion with less, drop this in the comments. I move with precision. And don't click away just yet, because in the next part, we're going to talk about what happens when you stop asking for her interest and assume it instead. Number 5. Let her chase your calm. When a man walks into a room carrying calm energy, people notice. But when a man sits across from a woman unshaken, unrushed, unbothered, she notices on a deeper level. Why? Because calmness is rare, especially the kind that doesn't come from faking it, but from real inner stillness. Most guys bring noise. They talk too much. They try too hard. They react fast. They chase. And every bit of that behavior screams, my center is outside of me. That energy doesn't attract, it overwhelms. It says, validate me so I can feel okay. But calm? Calm says the opposite. It says, I'm already okay. And women chase that kind of energy because it makes them feel safe, intrigued, and oddly challenged all at once. Your calm presence is not just silence. It's a message. It says, you can bring your beauty, your energy, your tests, but you won't shake me. I'm still. I'm grounded. I'm not dancing to your rhythm, I have my own. That kind of steadiness is magnetic. You become the man who's different from what she's used to. You're not there to impress. You're not competing with other guys. You're just there. Fully, quietly, powerfully. And here's the truth no one tells you. Women are exhausted by men who try too hard. They might entertain it. They might enjoy the attention. But deep down, they want the man whose value doesn't rise and fall with her reaction. They want the man who's still. Now let's be real. Staying calm isn't always easy. It takes practice. You'll feel the urge to fill the silence, to compliment too soon, to ask for validation. But when you resist that urge, you flip the power dynamic. Suddenly, she's the one filling the space. She's the one thinking, why isn't he reacting? She's the one wondering, what is he thinking? She's the one leaning in. Because now you've made her curious, not just comfortable. And curiosity builds emotional tension. This is what the Stoics understood so well. They didn't chase chaos. They embraced stillness. They didn't let emotions take the lead. They observed them, controlled them. They knew that true strength doesn't yell, it holds. So how do you bring this calm into your own interactions? Start by slowing down. When you speak, pause. When you listen, really listen. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Let silence hang for a beat longer than you're used to. Don't rush to fill it. Let her feel it. Next, breathe from your core. Literally. Keep your voice low and steady. Keep your face relaxed. Move like you've got time, because a man who moves like he has nowhere better to be gives off the vibe of someone who's in control. When things get emotional, don't mirror her intensity. Stay grounded. When she tests you, stay cool. When she gets loud, you get still. You're not being passive, you're being immovable. And that imbalance, that contrast, it draws her in, because here's what she learns without you saying a word. You are not easily moved, and that makes her want to move toward you. It makes her want to understand what's behind the quiet, what's behind the ease, what's behind the peace you carry like armor. Let her chase that. Let her try to crack your calm, not because you're hiding, but because your energy is earned, built, protected. You are not a man who spills himself in the first conversation. You are not a man who explodes just because someone pushes a button. You are a man who responds, not reacts. A man whose peace is not for sale. And that, more than looks, money, or clever lines, what keeps her coming back. So if this is the kind of presence you're committed to living with, say it in the comments. I protect my peace. And don't go anywhere, because in the next shift, we're not chasing energy, we're commanding it without saying a word. Number 6, pass her tests without reacting. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. She's going to test you, not because she's mean or manipulative or insecure, but because it's how she feels you. It's how she knows what kind of man she's really dealing with. A test isn't just a trick, it's a signal. It says, can I trust his strength? Not just physical strength, but emotional strength, mental clarity, self-possession. And what most men do, they fail instantly. They get defensive, they over-explain, they lash out, they collapse. They trade presence for panic. They treat every playful challenge like a personal attack. That's when she sees it. He's unstable. He doesn't lead. He reacts. But when you pass her tests without reacting, without breaking your frame, without getting pulled into drama, that's when her respect grows. That's when she feels, okay, this guy's built different. Let's be clear here. Tests come in many forms. It could be a sharp joke, a delayed text response, a question meant to poke your ego, even a flirt with another guy just to see how you hold your ground. You don't win these moments by playing defense. You win them by not flinching. You don't get loud. You don't get cold. You don't shrink or overcompensate. You breathe. You hold eye contact. You stay in your center. Think of it like this. She's not trying to destroy your masculinity. She's checking it. She wants to know, is this man really solid, or does he just talk like it? That's where Stoicism gives you the edge. Because Stoicism teaches one thing above all. You don't control events, you only control your response. When someone pushes you emotionally, you don't hand over your power. You pause, you observe. You respond like a man who's already won, not a boy trying to prove something. Let me give you an example. She says, wow, you're really confident. How many women have you used that line on? A reactive guy scrambles, no, it's not like that. But you smile. You say, only the ones worth talking to. You stay grounded. You flip it with calm, not force. That's how you pass a test without even calling it out. Or maybe she throws some heat. You probably just want attention. A lesser man defends, that's not true. I'm not like that. You shrug lightly. Attention's easy to get. I'm here for connection. Simple, clean, no defensiveness. You stay calm. You stay above the game. You don't fall for the bait. Because the moment you get emotional, the test wins. Not because she wins, but because she loses interest in a man who loses himself. And make no mistake, these moments are critical. She's not always aware she's testing you. A lot of it's subconscious. It's in her wiring. She's not looking for perfection. She's looking for integrity, for consistency, for groundedness. And groundedness doesn't flinch. It doesn't chase. It doesn't react. It doesn't throw energy around just because someone else can't handle silence. A grounded man makes her feel something far more valuable than excitement. Security. The security of being around a man who leads himself. That's why your ability to stay calm in the face of chaos is sexy. Because she knows deep down that life is full of storms, and if you can't hold your center when she tests you, how will you handle real conflict, real stress, real uncertainty? Passing her tests is not about dominating her. It's about owning yourself. And that ownership is the difference between a forgettable fling and the kind of presence she can't stop thinking about. So remember this. When she tests you, don't analyze. Don't overtalk. Don't defend. Let your energy do the talking. Stay light, stay calm, stay unmoved. And if that's the kind of man you're working to become, drop this in the comments. I hold my frame. Stick with me, because in the next part, we'll shift from response to influence, and you'll see how just being in the room can draw her in more than any pickup line ever could. Number 7. Keep her guessing your intent. If there's one emotion that keeps a woman mentally locked on you, it's curiosity. Not comfort, not clarity, curiosity. And nothing sparks it more than uncertainty about your intent. Does he like me? Is he into me, or just playing cool? Why do I feel so drawn to him when he's not even trying? That inner dialogue, that's where the addiction starts. See, most men ruin the spark by being too clear too early. They lay their intentions bare. I really like you. I think you're beautiful. I want to see where this goes. It sounds honest, and there's nothing wrong with honesty. But when it's given too soon, too easily, it kills the mystery. You've removed the emotional work. She doesn't get to wonder. She doesn't get to think about you after you've gone. She doesn't replay moments and try to decode your vibe. She already knows because you told her everything. That may sound romantic, but it's emotionally flat. There's no suspense, no game to play, no puzzle to solve. But when a man keeps his cards close, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect that creates tension, he becomes the one she wants to figure out. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about being vague just for the sake of being mysterious. It's about living from a place where you don't need her to know your every thought. Your validation doesn't come from being understood. It comes from being grounded. You're not trying to make her insecure. You're letting her lean in. You give her presence, but not full access. You flirt, but you don't confess. You listen deeply, but you don't rush to label what's happening between you. That undefined space, that's where the magic happens. Here's what women won't say out loud, but will feel instantly. When you keep her guessing your intent, she starts investing emotionally. She puts in effort. She initiates. She tries to impress you. Why? Because uncertainty drives action. Psychologists call it the reward anticipation loop. When a person doesn't know exactly when or how they'll be rewarded, when the outcome is possible but not guaranteed, they become obsessed. They keep coming back. Their brain keeps refreshing the tab, waiting for the next signal. That's what your silence does. That's what your calm glances do. That's what your confidence note chased, just owned us. And in that emotional space, you become unforgettable. Think of it like this. You're having a great conversation. The vibe is warm. She's laughing. She's close. Then she says, "So, what are you looking for?" Most guys get nervous. They blurt out something generic, or worse, they over-validate. "Well, I'm really looking for someone just like you." You smile and say, "I'm seeing what life brings. What about you?" Then you lean back. Let her reveal. Let her wonder. Because when you're not trying to lock her down, she feels free and strangely hooked. Or let's say she leans in and asks, "Do you always flirt like this?" You could say, "Only when I'm actually interested." Or better yet, "I'm just enjoying this moment. Are you?" Now she's guessing. Now she's feeling. Now she's invested. The Stoics didn't walk around explaining their every emotion. They let presence speak louder than performance. They were known for emotional restraint, but more than that, for letting the moment unfold without gripping it too tightly. That's what you're doing here. You're not withholding. You're just not rushing. You're not making declarations. You're making her feel something more powerful than words: mystery. And mystery, when paired with calm confidence, makes her curious in a way no compliment ever could. So if you want her to think about you when you're gone, don't give her a full map. Let her wander through the unknown a little. Because when she can't quite label you, she doesn't forget you. If that's the energy you're aiming to master, say it in the comments. I create mystery. And stay close, because in the next part, we're stepping into pure masculine influence. No touch, no words, just presence. And it speaks louder than you think. Number 8. Be emotionally expensive. We live in a world where emotional availability is thrown around like candy. Quick connections, constant access, instant replies, endless validation. And in that noise, the man who becomes emotionally expensive, selective, measured, becomes a different breed altogether. Think about it like this. Women don't chase cheap emotion. They feel it, maybe even enjoy it in the moment, but they forget it the next day. What they chase lingers is emotional energy that's earned, not given freely. Being emotionally expensive means your time, your focus, your feelings, they have weight. They don't show up on demand. They're not free samples. They're meaningful, intentional, and rare. Now don't confuse this with being cold or withholding. That's not what we're talking about. Stoicism isn't emotional suppression, it's emotional self-control. You feel, but you're not controlled by it. You care, but you don't bleed it out for everyone. The man who's emotionally expensive doesn't broadcast every thought. He doesn't chase emotional comfort in every interaction. He's okay with being misunderstood for a moment if it means staying true to his own center. That's what draws her in. Because here's what happens when a woman senses your emotions are valuable. She works harder for them. She leans in more. She values your praise. She listens closely when you finally speak. Because she knows it doesn't happen often. And that scarcity creates meaning. Imagine this. You're on a date. She tells a story. Most guys would jump in, validate, compliment, show enthusiasm. You listen, you nod, you hold eye contact. And when the story finishes, instead of rushing to praise, you say something simple like, "That's interesting. What made you want to do that?" Boom. She pauses. Why? Because you didn't flood her with emotional response. You made her earn your attention. And now she's hooked not just on your presence, but on the feeling that your approval isn't automatic. That's emotional expense in action. Or maybe you've been texting for a few days. Things are going well. She starts sending flirty messages, hinting for validation. Most guys jump right into the flirt. You keep it light, playful, measured. You don't jump to say, "You're so sexy." You say, "You seem fun when you're in the mood." That subtle shift keeps you in control, and it teaches her your energy is earned, not begged for. This is the edge Stoic men carry. They don't compete emotionally. They don't beg to be seen. They choose when to reveal. They decide when to lean in. And because of that, they feel powerful. They don't say much, but when they do, it lands. They don't give affection constantly, but when they do, it feels real. They don't show vulnerability immediately, but when it shows, it hits deep. The point is not to play games. It's to protect your energy, because when your emotions become too accessible, they lose their gravity. So how do you become emotionally expensive? You start by becoming emotionally aware. Notice what you feel without needing to express it right away. Let it settle. Let it build. Share it when it matters not, when the silence feels uncomfortable. You also protect your attention. Don't chase every notification. Don't offer full emotional intimacy to someone who hasn't earned your trust. Let connection unfold, not explode. You practice saying less and meaning more. You don't need to give your story to be seen. Your energy already says enough. And that's the key. Your energy is the currency. If you give it too freely, it loses value. If you offer it intentionally, it becomes irresistible. So if you're ready to be the man who doesn't come cheap, write this in the comments. I raise my value. Don't scroll yet, because in the next shift, we'll tap into the one thing that makes your silence more seductive than any compliment ever could. Number 9. Control the frame or lose it all. There's one silent power that separates the forgettable from the magnetic. It's not looks, it's not status, it's not even charm. It's the frame, the unspoken rules of the interaction. And here's the truth. Whoever controls the frame, controls the meaning. Whoever sets the frame, sets the tone. Whoever loses the frame, loses everything. Most guys don't even know it's happening. They walk into an interaction already inside her frame. They respond to her mood. They try to impress. They wait for cues. They react, adjust, explain, and slowly, without realizing it, they surrender the lead. But the man who holds the frame, he doesn't chase energy, he creates it. He sets the pace. He defines the vibe. He decides what's acceptable and what's not, without saying a word. Let's break this down. What does it mean to control the frame? It means you're not just playing along, you're creating the emotional structure the interaction lives inside. If you're calm, she feels calm. If you're playful, she follows that tone. If you don't flinch when she tests you, the conversation stays grounded. She orbits your gravity, not the other way around. But if you break frame, if you start reacting to every look, every tone, every little comment, now she is leading. Now you're the one proving, chasing, adjusting. And the moment she senses that shift, the attraction starts to fade. Let me give you a real-world example. She's running late. She shows up, no apology. She drops a teasing line. Well, at least I made it. You weren't waiting too long, were you? The guy who loses frame says, No, it's okay. I was just chilling. The man who holds frame, he gives a light smile, pauses, says, Fashionably late, huh? I like confidence, as long as it comes with good conversation. Boom. He's still warm, still composed, but he just reset the tone. He didn't punish her boo, he didn't bend either. Frame control isn't about power games. It's about presence. You don't dominate. You guide. You don't control her, you control yourself. And that self-control creates structure, which creates safety, which creates attraction. Stoicism gives you this edge, because a Stoic doesn't chase external approval. He defines his own terms, his own standards, his own values. And because of that, he's not shaken when someone challenges him. You want her to lean into your world. Then build one strong enough to invite her in. Don't try to earn your place in her frame. Build your sand. Let her earn her place in it. And if you're building that kind of inner frame now, drop it in the comments. I hold the frame. Stay with me, because in the final part, everything shifts. We're going quiet, but it's the kind of silence that changes the game. Number 10. Become her obsession by acting like you're optional. Nothing pulls a woman deeper into fascination than a man who doesn't need her. Not in a bitter, detached, or arrogant way, but in a calm, grounded, fully lived kind of way. When you show up as a man who could take it or leave it, who chooses to be there, but doesn't need to be, something inside her lights up, because she senses the difference between a man who's available and a man who's rare. Acting like you're optional doesn't mean playing hard to get. It means you've built a life that already gets you. A mission, a pace, a sense of self-worth that doesn't pause just because she's in the room. You're not here to be chosen, you've already chosen yourself. And this subtle, quiet energy, it changes the entire dynamic. Suddenly, she's wondering if she's good enough. She's chasing confirmation. She's trying to crack what makes you so centered, so content, so out of reach, even when you're close. It's a paradox when you don't make her the center of your world, you become the center of hers. Here's what that looks like. You don't rush to reply, not because you're playing games, but because you're genuinely doing your thing. You don't rearrange your whole life just to fit her in. You make space, but you don't collapse your structure. And when you speak, there's no pressure, no emotional neediness, just calm, masculine presence. She can feel that freedom, and at first, it might even confuse her. But over time, it becomes addictive, because every other man tried to hold on. You let go, and she's the one holding tighter. The Stoics taught this well. They believed happiness came from self-sufficiency, not external approval. They didn't cling, they didn't beg, they walked forward with purpose. And if someone walked with them, great. If not, they kept walking. That's how you become her obsession, not by filling her inbox, not by proving you're the best man she's ever met, but by being the man who doesn't need to be anyone but himself. Because when you're not afraid to walk away, people stop letting you go. And she will feel that every time you look her in the eye and smile, like she's lucky you showed up. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're evolving. You're not chasing tips to impress women. You're becoming a man who doesn't need to. A man who moves with calm, who leads with silence, who attracts without effort, because effort isn't needed when your energy already says everything. That's the Stoic path. And if it's the path you're walking, you don't have to walk it alone. So here's what to do next. Hit subscribe, not just to follow a channel, but to follow your edge. Join the brotherhood. Become a member of our Stoic circle where we dive deeper, go sharper, and level up together. No fluff, no hype, just men becoming dangerous in the best way possible. Thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.